Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John and I have a new album review by a band called Sweet Oblivion. This band is fronted by Geoff Tate from Queensryche. The name of the album is called Relentless. So before I begin, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Sweet Oblivion is a band that was formed by Geoff Tate and along with Serafino Perugino, who is the president of A&R and the director of Frontier Records. This is their second album. The first album was self-titled. It came out in 2019. This album is called Relentless. The band has a new lineup with the exception of Geoff Tate. For me, it's a little reminiscent of those like mid-90s Queensryche albums, where they did put out a couple of like pretty good albums. For example, Promised Land or Hearing It Out Frontier. It kind of has that type of sound to it. So I'm going to talk about this album, but I'll go through the tracks one by one. And then after that, I'll just give you my final thoughts. The opening track is called Once Again, One Sin. Very atmospheric. In the opening, you hear a lot of different sound effects. You hear like some like technological like noises and things like that. There's a soft piano, some orchestral sounds. Now the song starts to get moving and you can tell it's going to be a pretty good hard rock heavy album at this point. There's some melodic guitar work and it's almost like a mixture of Queensryche and Dream Theater. And I think that's the basic theme of the entire album. It's just old Queensryche and some like little Dream Theater mixed in. But it does have some distorted guitars, there's some piano, and it sounds really good. The next song is called Strong Pressure. They released a lyric video for this song. It was released about 2 months ago. The song starts off with some synth. There's a really nice bass line. You can hear some heavy guitars. The song does have some like effects, some like sound effects like police radio. That reminded me a little of something from like Operation Mindcrime. And we're gonna be hearing that like throughout the album. A lot of like little subtle like references to past Queensryche albums. The next song is called Let It Be, and no, this is not the Beatles song. This song is actually a little heavier than the other ones that we listened to so far. It reminds me a little more of Dream Theater again, because it has those heavy guitars and those like keyboards. The tone of the bass guitar is the thing that reminds me the most of classic Queensryche. It just has that like tone to it, that like bass sound. And the next song is called Another Change. So they released a music video for this one on YouTube about a month ago. The song has a lot of heavy guitars. There's some clean guitars in the first section. It's very melodic. You know, it's just a straightforward like rock or hard rock song. And this particular song just has a focus on like the heavy guitars. You do hear a little piano in the background, but you know, this is more of like a harder song and has a really shredding guitar solo. The next song is called Wake Up Call, and this starts off with a straightforward metal riff, and this one takes me back to those like 80s Queensryche albums. There's a breakdown on the song. You know, the guitar chords are very heavy, there's some keyboard in the background, and the guitar solo, it just reminds me of like a classic metal solo. The next song is called Remember Me, and this is a straightforward heavy metal song. It starts off with a heavy riff, goes into the verse section with some clean guitars, and this is a really good song. It's just very straightforward and I enjoyed this one a lot. After that is a song called Anybody Out There, and just the name of it like reminded me of the song Is There Anybody Listening from Empire, but this is a completely different song. Got a lot of heavy guitars, you got the keyboards. Geoff Tate's vocals are very melodic on this one. Some keyboards in the background, some pretty good lead guitar work. So this is a really good song. The next song is probably like a standout track, and it's called Aria. I say it stands out because it is sung completely in Italian. Geoff Tate does a really good job singing it in Italian. I don't know if he is a native speaker, but you know, if he is or isn't, it just sounds very good. This is a traditional metal song. It focuses on the heavy guitars. You don't really have any keyboards in this one. It's just a straightforward traditional metal song. Probably maybe my favorite on the song, and a really good one. The next song is called I'll Be the One. And this one they slowed down a lot. It's a soft ballad. We got some acoustic guitars, some orchestral elements in the background. I think they're probably going for like a silent lucidity type of sound. The song is completely different, but just kind of that's the vibe I was getting. The song has an electric guitar solo, and it reminds me of those like typical guitar solos from like 80s power ballads. The last song is called Fly Angel Fly. This is the last song on the album. You know, the keyboards and the introduction sound almost like a horror movie, but they're very brief. The guitars kick in and it's just a straightforward heavy metal song. You know, the riffs are heavy, there's some galloping guitars, and it's very reminiscent of 80s Queensryche. So in conclusion, let me start off by saying that when I was younger, I was a really big Queensryche fan, especially the first 5 or 6 albums. My favorites are Operation Mindcrime and Empire. Before that, I was listening to Geoff Tate's other band. He had another like project called Operation Mindcrime. I listened to a few of those albums, and I didn't really like them that much. They were just very like laid back, and they didn't really have the sound I was looking for. But this band is going for that classic Queensryche sound. You know, like I said before, those like mid-90s to early 2000s albums, a little bit of like the 80s albums mixed in too. And it's a good album if you're looking for that type of thing. You know, if you really miss that sound, I think it's a really good album to listen to. Now, is it as good as Todd LaTorre's solo album that he released earlier this year? No, it's not. Or is it as good as any of the last like 3 Queensryche albums? No, it's not either. But it is a decent album. It does have that classic sound. So if it's something you're looking for, I think you would enjoy it. I'll give this score an 8 out of 10. You know, I just enjoy listening to it, and the songs just brought me back to the old days. That is it. Let me know in the comments what do you think. Have you heard the album? And if you like it, let's get a conversation going. Tomorrow I will have my final results of my Metal March Madness. I will be announcing the winner of the brackets. It is between Dio Holy Diver and Metallica Master of Puppets. As of right now, I tallied the votes, and it is a tie. So if you would like to break the tie and you haven't voted yet, you may do so. If not, I'll have to do that spinner thing or the coin toss or something like that. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.